Okay, so we're going to go over the homework, number 27. So I know in class we established what kind of relationship these special angles have. So these parallel lines cut by transversals create certain angles. So this angle's in the interior, this angle's in the interior, and they're on the same side of the transversal, therefore these are same side interior. And if you remember in class we said, over here I'll write it, that SSI, SSE, LP, those are going to be supplementary. They're 100, they're going to add up to be 180. And remember, it's a blank plus blank. You can look on page 17. Now, I believe it was second or third period that we weren't able to paste it in, but what I'm referring to is this. This would go on page 17. Okay, so, and then all the others are going to be equal to each other. So that's alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, and vertical. So you'll want to memorize this. Okay, so since these are SSIs, we're going to go over here and they add up to be 180, so that pair is going to add up. And notice I'm only doing 2 blanks because a pair is only 2 angles. So don't confuse it with the triangle. Okay, so I have an x plus 65 and then an x plus 135. Excuse me. Box and circle. Put a 1, circle, box, circle, circle. Now those of you that like, not going to do this for every problem, so if you like the constant variable method, let me get a piece of paper. If you like the constant variable method, then what you would do here is you would do variable and then constant, and then you would put all the variables here. So I have an x and an x, so 1x and a 1x. They're all on the same side, so leave it here. 180 on this side. 135 is coming over here, so you have to change its sign. 65 is coming over here, so you have to change its sign. All right, and then you just add them. So then 1x plus 1x is 2x. Then you add all these up. So let's see, I'm going to grab my calculator. Okay, so then you get 180 plus 135 negative plus 65 negative equals negative 20. So then we write negative 20 here. Divide, divide, x equals negative 10. But that's not our final answer because it says find the measure of the angle indicated in bold. So we got to go over here. So then you take your x equals negative 10 and you plug it in there. So now I'm going to do the other method. Okay, so combine like terms, 1x plus 1x is 2x. 65 plus 135 is 200, so add them up. Then subtract 200 from both sides. 2x equals, well, 180 minus, so you got to do the top number minus, you have to go in that order. So 180 minus 200 equals negative 20. So negative 20, divide by 2, divide by 2, so x equals negative 10, just like we got with this method, okay? We both got negative 10. Now what do we do with that negative 10? You take that negative 10 and you drop it and substitute it in for x there. And since it says x plus 65, you're going to do negative 10 plus 65. So if you do that, you get 10 negative plus 65 equals 55, which makes sense. So that acute looking angle is 55 degrees, all right? Now, interestingly, if you put the negative 10 over here, negative 10 plus 135, you get 125, which means this angle, this obtuse angle, is 125 degrees. Now think about that. If you take 125 and add it with 55, you should get 180, which we do. So it's a kind of a nice way to check. One moment, I'm gonna, hold on one second. Okay. All right, so number 28. These are alternate exterior angles. So if you see here, we've got exterior, And the reason they're alternate exteriors is because they're not on the same side, okay? So alternate exterior angles, if you remember, they are not supplementary, they actually equal each other, so they go over here. So we're going to set them equal to each other, blank equals blank. And then we put 25x plus 6, 26x plus 1. All right, box and circle. Okay, so move the smaller variable to, so 25x. Now, those of you that like the variable constant method, you just have to be careful. I'll do that one with you as well. So let me do the other method, this method first. So you would actually subtract 25x from both sides. And then get 6 equals 1x plus 1. Well, because 26x minus 25x, okay. And then you get 1x plus 1. Then subtract 1 from both sides. And then 5 equals x, okay, because we combine these together. Oh, do I need to focus this? Let's try. That seems to look better. Okay. Anyway, then we got x equals 5, and then we are supposed to find the bold. So there, that's bold. And let's take that 26. Now this one, it's 26 times 5 plus 1. So 26 times 5 equals plus 1. Okay, so 131 degrees. Which makes sense because this is an obtuse angle, so it should be 131 degrees. Okay. Number 29. This is exterior and this is interior. They're on the same side of the transversal on two different parallel lines. This is corresponding. And corresponding is where they're always equal to each other. This here means acute equals acute, obtuse equals obtuse. So we're going to do blank equals blank. So 12x minus 7, 10x plus 1. All right, box. Oh, I forgot to do the other method. I'll do it here. I apologize for that. And remember, anytime on this video, pause and try it as much as you can on your own, okay? If you do it a little bit differently than I do, you should still be able to get the same answer I do, as long as mathematically you're doing the correct things. Okay, so I have a variable on both sides, so since I forgot it last time, I'm going to do this one first, the method that some of you prefer, which is the variable and constant. So I'll put a variable constant here. Okay, so on this side, I have a 12x, and then the 10x is on the other side of the line, so when I bring it over, I'm going to have to change its sign. Okay, so that takes care of the variables. Over on this side, I have a positive 11, so since it's already on this side, I'm good. Now negative 7 has to switch sides, come down, give it the inverse operation, which is add 7. Since I only have those two terms on each side, I add them up. 12 plus a negative 10, or you can say 12 minus 10, is 2. Don't forget your x. That's why it's in this column. It's the variable column. 11 plus 7 is 18. And then divide, and then x equals 9. Okay, so that's this method. Now the other method is subtract the smaller variable from both sides. And then 2x minus 7 equals 11. Add 7, 2x equals 18. Divide, x equals 9. Okay, which is the same thing we got. Then we plug it into the bold, the angle indicated that's bold. So we're going to drop the 9 in there, so it becomes 10 times 9 plus 11. Remember, you do multiplication before you do the addition. So 10 times 9 is 90, plus 11 is 101. So that's a 101 degree angle. I'm going to check my answers here real quick. So let's see. Okay. All right, so far so good. Number 30. Now this one, remember we told you to either highlight or darken the lines that you need, and then you need to find a way to ignore all the other lines. So if I loop this and loop this, these are both in the interior of these parallel lines. You just ignore that other parallel line. and they're on the same side, so this is SSI. So what I'm going to do here is blank plus blank equals 180. And remember, I'm only doing 2 blanks because it's a pair of angles that are supplementary. All right, so I'm going to put 6x minus 9 here, 16x minus 9, and a box, circle, circle, add, okay? So again, if you prefer the variable constant method, go ahead and pause the video, do it on your own, and then come back. The next one, I'll try the other method, okay? So, or the variable constant method. So on this one, you add the 6 and the 16, and that comes out to be 22x. Add the negative 9 plus the negative 9, that comes out to be negative 18. Rewrite the 180, box and circle. All right, I'm going to add 18 to both sides. I hope I'm doing this right. These numbers look a little bit different than usual. That's 198. And then divide by 22. X equals 198 divided by 22. 198 divided by 22 is 9. Okay, so then we take that, and we need to find the bold angle, so right here. So we'll do 16 times 9 minus 9. Multiplication before addition or subtraction, 16 times 9, subtract 9, it's 135 degrees. Did I get that right? I hope so, yes. If I'm going too fast, pause the video. I'm just going to keep on pushing through so that I can get this video out to you guys. But you know that you can pause, rewind, replay as often as you need. So I only need these lines, oops, that line and this line. And so I'm completely ignoring that one, okay? That's not necessary. So you have to find a way to ignore those. This is an exterior, this is an exterior. So these are alternate exteriors because they're not on the same side. Okay, so I'll do blank equals blank because alternate exterior angles are equal to each other. They don't add up to be 180. So another way to think about it is you have an obtuse angle and obtuse angle, they're going to equal because they're both obtuse. 14x minus 5 equals 13x plus 3. All right, so as promised, this problem I'm going to try doing with the variable constant method. Now those of you that don't use the method, you want to subtract your variable on both sides, okay, and then go from there. So maybe I'll do that method as well. So for those that like the variable constant method, all right, I see a variable here already on this side, so it keeps its sign. This variable is on the other side of the line, so I'm going to bring it over and change its sign. I have a 3 here, and then change the negative 5 to a positive 5, and then add them up. Now 14 minus 13, or 14 plus a negative 13 is a 1x. Okay? And then 3 plus 5 is 8. So the 1, I'm just going to leave it invisible, and this is actually my answer. X equals 8. If you do it this way, you just subtract the smaller variable in general, and then you have 1x minus 5 equals 3. Then add 5, and then you get x equals 8, which is what we got here. Okay? Then we plug back in. Looks like this is the bold one, so you plug the 8, or the word is substitute. So 13 times 8 plus 3. So multiply before adding. So 13 times 8 plus 3 is 107 degrees. And did I get that right? Yes. And it makes sense because this is an obtuse angle, so that's a reasonable answer. 32 is corresponding angles because you have interior, exterior, same side, different parallel lines. So you're going to, as we see here, these are equal to each other. So 19x plus 2 equals 18x plus 6. Those of you that like the variable constant method, go ahead and do your thing, pause the video, and then join back with us. I'm going to subtract 18x from both sides, moving the smaller variable. That becomes x, and then plus 2 equals 6, and then subtract 2 from both sides, x equals 4. And then you take the 4, and this looks bolder, so let's put it here. 18 times 4 plus 6. So 18 times 4 equals plus 6 equals 78. Now, that's an acute angle, and does that seem reasonable? Yeah, if you look at this, this definitely looks acute. Not super acute, so that's why 78 it seems like a reasonable number. And then 33. Okay, well, it looks like a lot of lines. However, if I just ignore all those lines except for these parallel lines and this transversal, I'm good to go. And if it helps even better, draw your loops to see even better. It kind of accentuates the angle. So this is in the interior, and this is the interior of these parallel lines, okay? So what we have here is alternate interior angles. They're both interior, and then they're on different sides of the transversal, so, and they're on different parallel lines. So alternate interior angles are equal to each other, so you do blank plus blank equals blank. Okay? And those of you that like the variable constant method, go for it, pause it, and then come back and join and see if you got the same answer. All right, I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. And then I get 16 equals 1x plus 5, subtract, subtract. So 11 equals x. All right, but we're not done. Looks like this is the bold one, so I'm going to put 5 times 11 plus 5. This is 55 plus 5, which is 60 degrees. And let's see if that's right. Yep. And then 34. Interestingly, these two angles right here, they're just right across from each other, and they create that bow tie effect. So this is just vertical. They're vertical angles. I mean, you have all this mess of lines, but really, those are just distractors. You don't need any of those to help you figure out what the relationship is. You just needed these two lines. So vertical angles are also equal to each other, not supplementary. So 17x plus 1, 16x plus 8. All right? So then we box and circle. Subtract 16x, subtract 16x. So I get x plus 1 equals 8. Subtract, subtract. Now I'm doing this kind of fast, but hopefully I didn't make a mistake. I need to go back and check here. Okay, that looks right. I copied it right. Okay, so I bring that down. Okay, that looks good. And then looks like this is the bold one. So I'm going to do 17 times 7, because that's what my x is, plus 1. 17 times 7. My brain, I don't trust it this time of the day. 119 plus 1 is 120 degrees, and that is correct.